My 26th birthday lasted exactly 12 minutes, not because I was busy, not because I had plans, but because that's how long it took for my family to remind me what they thought I was worth. The cake was small, too small for 5 people. White frosting slightly melted on one side, like it had been sitting out too long, just like me in that house. My mother placed it on the table with a fake smile. Make a wish, she said. I didn't. Wishes require hope. And hope doesn't survive long in a house where every conversation feels like a test. You're meant to fail. My father leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. Come on, he said, at least pretend you're happy. My younger brother snorted. Why would he be? It's just another year of doing nothing. I stayed quiet. I had learned something important over the years. Silence confuses people who expect you to break them. My mother reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. White, thin, too light to mean anything good. She slid it across the table toward me. Your gift, she said. Her voice was sweet. To sweet, the kind of sweet that comes right before something rotten. I didn't open it immediately. I looked at each of them first. My father was already smiling. My brother was trying not to laugh. My mother, she looked proud, like she had planned something special. So I opened it. Slowly. Carefully. And a single note slipped into my hand. $1 folded inside. It was a small piece of paper. I unfolded it and read, for the most useless member of this family. They didn't wait. The laughter came instantly. Loud. Sharp. Echoing against the walls, like I was some kind of joke that had finally landed, finally earning something. My father said, clapping once. My brother added, even beggars make more than that. My mother just watched me, studying my face. Waiting for me to react. To snap. To shout. To give them the show they wanted but didn't. I folded the note back. Carefully, exactly how it had been. And slipped it into my pocket. Thank you, I said. That's when the room changed, just slightly, not enough for anyone else to notice, but I felt it, that tiny shift, the moment when people realize their weapon didn't hit where they aimed. Dinner continued. Like nothing happened, like humiliating me was just part of the routine, like breathing, but something inside me had already gone quiet. Not broken. Not hurt. Just done. Asterisk. They thought I was unemployed. Lazy. Directionless. What they didn't know was this. For the past year, I had been working nights. Not in an office. Not in anything they respected. I worked in industrial repair, fixing heavy equipment. Cold storage units, factory systems. The kind of work that leaves your hands rough and your body exhausted. The kind of work they would call low class. But it paid. Well. Very well. I just never told them, because in that house, information was ammunition. Every paycheck I earned went somewhere they couldn't see. Savings. Investments. Plans. I wasn't surviving, I was building. And that birthday, that envelope, that note, that was the moment I decided I was done hiding. Asterisk. 3 nights later, I heard them. I wasn't supposed to. But the walls in that house were thin. And people like them don't. Whisper carefully. He needs to learn, my father said. Yeah, my brother added. Kick him out for a night. My mother laughed softly. Let him see what the real world feels like. My chest didn't tighten. My hands didn't shake, because deep down, I had already expected it. Tonight, my brother asked. Tonight, my father confirmed. I stood in the hallway in the dark, listening, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the victim. I felt like someone watching a mistake about to happen. So I went to my room, packed a bag, took my documents, my savings card, the envelope with the dollar bill, and I left before they could throw me out. I didn't slam the door. I didn't say goodbye. I just disappeared. Asterisk. I didn't go far, just far enough. A small apartment, already paid, already mine. Because while they were busy mocking me, I had already built a life they knew nothing about. Weeks passed, no calls, no messages, until one day, my phone rang. My mother. I stared at it, let it ring, then it stopped. A message came seconds later. Where are you? No apology. No concern. Just control. I didn't reply, because for the first time in my life, I understood something clearly. They didn't miss me, they missed control over me. A month later, they found me. I don't know how. Maybe someone told them. Maybe they followed something I forgot to hide. But that night, there was a knock on my door. Not polite, not calm, desperate. I walked to the window and saw them standing outside. In the cold. My father. My mother. My brother. And for the first time, they didn't look powerful. They looked scared. Open the door, my father shouted. Please, my mother cried. I didn't move immediately, because suddenly, that envelope felt heavy in my pocket again. The dollar, the note, the laughter. I walked to the door, placed my hand on the lock, and stopped, because now, the decision was mine. And power feels very different when it finally belongs to you. Asterisk. My hand rested on the lock. Cold metal. Steady. Unmoving. Outside. They were breaking. Open the door, my father shouted again, louder this time, like volume could replace authority. He no longer had. My brother kicked the door once, not hard, not confident, just desperate. Please, my mother's voice cracked. But, word. Please. Strange how heavy it sounded coming from someone who had never used it on me before. Leaned closer to the door, close enough to hear their breathing, their panic. Their fear. And for a moment, I closed my eyes. Not because I was weak, but because memory doesn't disappear just because pain does. I remembered being 10, standing in the same cold, begging to be let inside after being locked out as a lesson. I remembered being 16, hearing them laugh when I said I wanted to build something of my own. I remembered my 26th birthday, that dollar, that note, that room full of people who enjoyed watching me shrink. My eyes opened, and just like that, the hesitation was gone. I unlocked the inner latch, but not the main door. The door opened, just enough for my voice to reach them. What do you want? I asked. Silence. For half a second. Then chaos. We need help. My father snapped. The house. My mother started. It's gone. My brother cut in. We got kicked out. Of course they did. I stayed quiet. Let them fill the silence. People always reveal more when you don't rush to respond. The landlord threw us out. My mother said quickly. There were issues, but that's not important right now. Not important. Course, consequences never feel important to the people who cause them. We just need to stay here for a few days, my father added. Not asked. Declared. That almost made me smile. I reached into my pocket. Slowly. Pulled out the envelope. Even through the thin opening of the door, they recognized it. My brother's face tightened. My mother looked away instantly. Do you remember this? I asked. Not now, my father snapped. We're freezing. Exactly. I unfolded the note, smoothed it out with my fingers, like I had done 100 times before. For the most useless member of this family. I read out loud. The wind outside howled, but not loud enough to drown the silence that followed. That was a joke. My brother muttered. Weak, defensive. You laughed, I said calmly. My mother started crying again. We didn't mean it like that. I tilted my head slightly. Then how did you mean it? No answer. Because some things don't have softer versions. My father stepped closer to the door. Listen, he said, lowering his voice. Whatever happened before, forget it. We're family. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was predictable. Asterisk, family, the word people use when they want access without accountability. I looked him straight in the eyes, through the narrow gap. Family doesn't plan humiliation, I said quietly. Family doesn't lock people out in the cold for entertainment. His jaw tightened. For a second, his old anger flickered back. Then the wind hit harder, and reality returned. Please, my mother whispered again, and that's when I made my move. Not dramatic, not loud, just precise. I closed the door, locked it, and walked away. Behind me, the pounding started again. Louder, more desperate. Are you serious? My father shouted. You're really going to do this? I didn't answer. Instead, I walked to the kitchen, picked up a small bag I had already prepared, because something in me had known this moment would come. Inside the bag, water bottles, protein bars. 2 thermal blankets. Hand warmers. And a piece of paper. I walked back to the door, opened it just enough. And placed the bag outside. They stopped, shouting. Confused. Double quotes. What is this? My brother asked. Help, I said. My father's face twisted. This is a joke, right? I shook my head. No. One pointed down the street. There's a shelter 2 blocks from here. It's open tonight. My mother blinked. You're not letting us in. There it was. The real question. Not are we safe? Not what do we do? Just, why don't we still have control over you? I met her eyes. You didn't let me in, I said softly. Remember? Her face broke. That was different. No, I cut her off. It wasn't silence, the kind that forces truth into the room, whether people want it or not. You'll be safe, I continued. Take the blankets, go to the shelter. My father shook his head in disbelief. You'd send your own family there. I held his gaze. I'm sending you somewhere warm, I said. That hit harder than anything else I had said, because for the first time, they couldn't twist it, couldn't deny it, couldn't play the victim properly. I wasn't being cruel. I was being clear. My brother picked up the bag slowly, hands shaking. My mother looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time, not as the useless one, not as the easy target, but as someone they could no longer control.